Hi everyone, welcome to Edna's Munches. So this week you're gonna do something that I really love, and something I've been eating since I was a little girl. It's called Pasteis nata, or Portuguese custard pie tarts. So I'm gonna show you my version that is easy and quick to make. It's not the original pastry because I think the original pastry is really hard to make. I'm using puff pastry, so I hope you enjoy it, and let's make it. So we have 2 packs of puff pastry. If you have the block, the one you just roll yourself, you only need 1 pack, but I'm using the already rolled. You have 6 eggs. We're just going to use the egg yolks. The egg whites, you can keep it and make like a pavlov or something. We have 225 mils of milk. I use full fat milk. You can use semi-skimmed, so use whatever you have in the house. We have 200 grams of sugar, 3 tablespoons of cornflour. I worked about 45 grams around there. Usually, the recipe says vanilla, but my original flavor was, I always remember, a hint of lemon. So for my family and myself, I'm going to use vanilla extract or vanilla. If you have a fresh lemon, you just can grate just the lemon rind, but I'm going to use the extract. If you don't like, if you prefer vanilla, just use vanilla. I use extract. Always remember, we don't use flavoring because the flavoring is not the flavor is not good, so extract is best. So we're going to use the butter just to put around on the tin. We're going to use a muffin tin, the cutter. So this one is 3 point something inch or 98 millimeters. A bowl for the eggs, saucepan, and a wooden spoon. You need a wooden spoon. Don't use metal spoon on saucepans. So first of all, we're going to prepare the tin. So we're just going to put butter in all the tins. Make sure all is covered, so hopefully the pastry won't stick as much. So all the holes are done now, so make sure it's all nice and butter. We're going to do the puff pastry. Remember, before you use the puff pastry, that you take it off the fridge for at least half an hour, so it's easier to work and it doesn't crack as much. So the pastry is ready. We use the plain round one. We need 12, so we should get 12 from this. So it's all cut now. Now we're going to make sure we fit it nice and snugly inside the pastry inside. Remember, they're going to puff a bit once we cook them. So that's all we need. So here we are. Don't worry about the crinkles. It's all part of character. It's homemade. So the tin is ready. So we put it to a side, and now we start preparing the filling. First things first, we're going to separate the egg. I don't know how you do it. I do it old school. I try to use my hands, but that didn't feel real good for me. For the egg whites, if you're going to use them again, make sure the bowl is nice and dry, no fat, nothing on it, because anything on it will just affect the puffing of the egg whites. But I'm not sure what I'm doing. So old school, use the egg yolk, the shell, to do it. So from one to the other, and that's how we do it, old school style. I don't know, they invented all sorts of stuff to use it, but to me, I always come back to old school and using the shells to do it. Make sure if the egg breaks, not to go into the egg whites again. If you're doing pavlov or anything with egg whites, there cannot be anything on the egg whites. So for us, we're just using the egg yolks anyway. So we start now with the dry ingredients. Make sure you mix the flour and the sugar, because we try to avoid lumps. The last thing we need is the lumps with the corn flour. So instead of putting all the milk, put some of it, so it's easier to mix, and make sure there's no lumps before you add the rest. because if you have less, it's easier to break all the lumps. So you can see some lumps. It's better to break the lumps before you start cooking, because once they're cooked, it's harder. So make sure it's nice and smooth. Okay, so now we add the rest of the milk and we leave it to take it to the stove. So the idea is to cook the corn flour. We don't want it to boil, we want it to simmer. So this is going to take a bit of time, but please, whatever you do, don't go away, because this is very critical. So it's going to take a bit of time. So I use the slow one. It's better to take a bit longer to mix it than boil it too fast. So as we can see, it's starting to thicken up. So this is very, very critical moment here. And keep mixing, because it's going to start thickening up quite fast. And keep mixing, make sure you go on the corners. You can see starting to thicken. See, it's thickening up now, it's quite thick. You need to keep mixing. If you see any lumps, you can use small whisk, but at the moment I'm okay for this one. And it's looking good. So this is not finished yet, because we have to do the egg yolk, so that's the next step. So at this moment I'm going to add my lemon extract. If you're using vanilla, add straight away when you add the milk. Because I'm doing lemon, I'll do afterwards. It's meant to be a tablespoon, but we like our lemon in the house, so a bit extra we don't mind at all. So make sure that's mixed in. And the smell of the lemon, ooh, takes me right back. Because the ones we have in Portugal always have a hint of lemon. But if you don't like the lemon, vanilla is fine. So that's that mixed. So now we're going to take some of the mixture and mix with the egg yolks. So I'm going to break the egg yolks. So the reason we do a bit of the mixture first is because we don't want to overcook the egg yolks, yeah? So we do a bit of the mixture first. And we start mixing straight away because the heat. So the heat makes sure. Because the heat of the flour is going to cook the egg yolks. So I do a second batch again. You don't want scrambled eggs. So if you do it this way, nice and smooth. And then now we add it to the frying pan. Or to the pan. I'll use a whisk now. Add a bit first. And it gets that yellow color that we like. Now we can add the whole thing. I found the whisk easier to mix. And if there's any lumps, the whisk will break it. So you see a nice yellow pale color. So now we need to let it cook for about 5 minutes. So please, 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 you don't leave the pan. This is a crucial time of our tarts that it needs your whole attention. So I don't like wasting. The more we have, the better. So now we need to let it simmer for about 5 minutes. And don't forget, this is still going to the oven, so it will finish cooking in the oven. As you can see, it's nice and thick. That's what we're looking for. Please remember, you need to keep mixing even after adding the eggs, because otherwise it will go lumpy. And if you have a whisk, a small whisk, that would be a good idea. So now it's time to do our separate. Now it's ready to go in the oven, and wait for the results. I can't wait. So the oven is at 150. I'll keep an eye on it for about 20 minutes, but yeah, you better keep an eye on it because it depends on the oven again. Can't wait. Here we are, ready to take them off. Let's see. Oh, they're looking good, nice and golden. Oh, look at that. Now we're just gonna take them off. Use the knife, take it slowly because it's
off the tray.
Yeah. Here we are, all nice and cool. And just for demonstration, I've made the pie as well using the same recipe, so you can have a beautiful lemon pie with a beautiful golden crust. Let's see how it looks like. I'm using the normal cases, the casings you buy in the shop. You know, I like having them around, and here's another example of how it can be used. Look at that, so nice and delicious. And because you have the pastry, the crust is beautiful. The same with our pie. Look at this, also nice and gooey and delicious. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy it. I'm sharing with you a bit of my childhood, something I love a lot, and so does some of my kids. I hope you enjoy it. Have a good week. Bye.